What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Trench Warfare Film Room. I'm your host, Brandon Thorne, and this is the second film room post Week 6. This, I figured, was a really good time to go into kind of a deep dive here on rookie offensive linemen in the NFL. And for the sake of time, this is already going to be, probably an hour plus, and we're only covering 6 rookies. So there's going to be some guys, some notable guys that are left out of this, but I'll definitely circle back on them at some point. But for this specific film room, we're going to discuss Steve Avila, Rams left guard Steve Avila, Cardinals right tackle Paris Johnson, Browns right tackle Dawand Jones, Bucks right guard Cody Mauch, Titans left guard Peter Skoronski, and then we're going to finish up with Bills right guard O'Cyrus Torrence. So like I said, I have a lot of film here. We're going to do a deep dive and just kind of show how these guys are winning, maybe some areas that they can clean up. And it's going to be a fun kind of dissection of these guys and their impact so far. So let's go ahead and get right into it here and start with the player that I think has been the most consistent and impactful among all the rookie offensive linemen this season, and that is Rams left guard Steve Avila, who has really kind of solidified their interior and given them sort of a building block this season for just kind of the surprise, that the Rams are on offense and really just as a team, as a whole. A huge part of that is, this rookie draft class, with Puka Nacua and him and Byron Young on the defensive side of the ball. But Steve Avila, let's just go into this. And I've been watching him the whole season. I was very interested to see how he did this year because he was my top guard in the draft. But I think the thing that we're going to continually see here as we go through this film is just look at how stout he is at the point of attack and how little ground he concedes to defenders. And he is consistently providing a lot of cushion here between himself and the quarterback. And you're going to see that kind of manifest itself in different ways throughout the season and in these clips to where Matthew Stafford feels very comfortable right here on kind of his blind side, right? So it's really critical for the interior to be stout. I think we heard the Bills front office come out and say that's a big reason they drafted O'Cyrus Torrence, not necessarily for what he brings in the run game, but for what he can bring in pass protection and just creating a firm pocket. And O'Cyrus has done that, I think, to a large degree. I just think Steve Avila has been a little bit more consistent week in, week out. There's just very few clean losses, for him this entire season. But, this is a very difficult matchup, right away. And this is the reason why I had him as OG1 is because his hands are really good and he has a lot of body control to his game, despite just being a huge dude and a huge obstacle to work around. He's not, like a slug or anything like that. Or, he's not one of those guys who looks like, despite how he looks, being like a quote-unquote phone booth kind of guard, he's more than that, right? There's some nuance to his game. And here he is against Josh Sweat, one of the most talented pass rushers in the NFL, honestly. He's a defensive end, but reduced inside here. And he's going to try to swipe him, but look at Steve Avila land with this inside hand. That's really good timing and placement with that hand to kind of disrupt the move. And then, he kind of knocks him off balance here into his grasp. And that plays into his strengths, right? He's so much bigger and more powerful than him, so he kind of negates that speed with timing, absorbs and engulfs him really at the point, and the rep's over. So, you see a lot of this kind of stuff from Avila this year. And then in the run game here, too, that's pretty sure that's Jalen Carter right there. And then just look at how strong. This is the type of stuff you saw last year on film with him against Michigan and Maisie Smith. Just square, look at his hips down at the point of attack, hands, kind of a double under technique right here. He's trying to create lift, and he creates a little bit of lift with that bump from the left tackle. But this point right here, that movement, how he gets his hips through the block right there. See that movement right there? It's very, kind of subtle, I guess, if you're not an offensive line person. But that's key right there, that movement. Outstanding displacement on a really good player there. Good rep here against Jalen Carter. So Jalen Carter goes with kind of an outside chop. Well, it's actually a stab, chop, rip. Watch it. Stab, chop, rip. He's in good position here because he's keeping him within the cylinder of his body. This could turn into a hold if his feet weren't moving quickly here. And also the running back does a nice job of avoiding him. The running back could have kind of clipped him, and then that could have turned into a hold or a loss. But nonetheless, Avila does a good job of just widening him up the pocket, up the arc, right? And then, Stafford does a nice job of not drifting, back foot hit, and just kind of take a quick hitch. But Avila, man, Stafford's comfortable right here, right? That's a nice job against a really high-level 3 technique. Really like the finish here, borderline hold, but everything that leads up to that last second kind of borderline hold is nice. So, front side stretch play right here. This is a wide alignment here as well. It's a 4-eye, right? And this is a defensive end. That's Derek Barnett, pretty sure, yep. So really good initial position, right? Just, the quickness at his size is nice. And it's really a timing thing too as well. Gets out of his stance quickly, gains ground, all right, hooks him. Right? So he's going to try to fight back and win back that outside gap. So you have to run your feet. Inside hand becomes important. And this is where the borderline hold comes. Yeah, you might be able to call that, but that's really tough in real time because Avila's feet are running, right? If his feet weren't running, this would definitely turn into a hold, but he runs his feet right there and finishes. So, that's kind of teetering on the line there, but, credit to Avila as well for being very active there. And also having the athletic ability to do that as well is I think, notable. So here's a TE, but again, just look at how firm he is again. So TE with Josh Sweat reduced inside, Hassan Reddick looping over, kind of sniffs it out quick pass off, but look at the inside hand. See, Josh Sweat attempts the cross chop, and Avila kind of strikes right through it there. Okay, quick pass, and then right here just sits down on that, and then look at all this cushion and room again. Just really, really strong at the point of attack. Once he gets kind of clenched inside hands on guys and he can kind of bring them into his frame, into his body, the rep is over, typically. Then you like to see him throw him down at the end right there, right? There. Just kind of assert himself, impose his will. It's just nice to see that as an offensive lineman at the end of plays. It kind of adds up over time. So, he didn't blow him off his feet necessarily here, but, the fact that he can be an asset on a screen like this, see how he's tracking the target with his eyes? The receiver's cracking, so he has to work around, right? He has another guy coming up behind him to clean up anything inside. So wraps around the receiver and then comes to balance, lines him up. Really, really nice job there. Browns right tackle, who we're just going to watch the 49er game. And I think this is a good synopsis of how he's been this season. I've said this a couple different times now, once on a podcast today and then texting with some buddies. I think what we're seeing right now in Cleveland with Dawand Jones is a masterclass in putting a guy in positions to utilize his strengths, not asking him to do too much, and then allowing him the freedom to kind of incorporate some of his strengths in unique ways. It's just marrying scheme and what you're asking a guy to do with his strengths and covering up weaknesses beautifully. It's really a great job by Bill Callahan and that staff, everybody there. I just think, Dawand Jones is doing a really good job as well, I think. But you'll see what I mean. But it looks just like he did at Ohio State, which is awesome. And I like Dawand Jones quite a bit coming out. I thought, I had him graded higher than where he went in the 4th. So I think I had a 2nd round grade on him, if I recall correctly. I think I liked him more than a good amount of people. He needed to go to the right spot, and he went to the right spot. Bill Callahan to me is the best line coach in the game. Him or Jeff Stoutland probably, but all right. So we're going to see him just use his, he has pretty light feet for his size, and he has unique size. He has incredibly long arms and enormous hands, and he uses them to his advantage very well. So, just working out here on the tight end screen, inside out, and then connecting and just widening him out. And then right here, look at this one. This one's awesome. He just like melts this defensive end right here. Covers him up and then just like melts him and just sits on him. That was a pretty cool block. But this is what he's doing this year. He's setting vertical primarily. So he's setting vertical, letting guys come to him. Vertical setting is something you typically want to do with big tackles because, well, for one, when you're vertical setting, you're closer to the quarterback, so you have less leeway against power. But when you're this dang big, vertical setting is actually really good because you're dealing with less space out here, which is not his strong suit. He can do it, and he does it. But primarily, you want to set vertical, let them come to you, and with your enormous arms or enormous hands, super long arms, you're able to initiate first contact, and by the time all that happens, the ball's typically gone. It's exactly how I would want to handle Dawand Jones. So vertical set. The ball, look, I mean, the ball's separated right here from the quarterback's hand right there, and he just is receiving engagement as the ball is basically being thrown. I mean, he's just setting vertical. That's all he's doing. I mean, he didn't really have to do anything, right? Just be a giant. And that's not all he's doing. Don't get me wrong, but you're incorporating that into the system, right? You're setting vertical. You have a tall pocket. It's great. And then you let him mix it up and utilize jump sets. Vertical set, jump set. Jump, boom. See him strike the face of Nick Bosa? And then because the ball's gone so quickly, him losing the corner like this, it doesn't even matter, right? Look at the ball. Separation from the quarterback's hand. He's not in a good position, but because he's able to utilize that length right there and kind of disrupt Nick and kind of jolt his head back, that's all you need. And then Nick has to stop his rush right here. But if the quarterback was, dropping or a little bit deeper, holding onto the ball, and this wasn't a quick concept, he's going to lose that rep. This is what I'm talking about, man. I mean, they got him dialed in and playing confident because he's utilizing his strengths. Okay, here we go. Setting vertical with tight end help. He blocks him here. The ball is separated from the quarterback's hand, and it's gone. And he just started blocking somebody, right? Vertical. Good presence here, though. The drag hands up. Good spacing with the right guard. But, I mean, by the time he has to block Nick, the ball's gone. So, you'd love to see it. Tight end help. So, contact happens a little bit quicker here, utilizing his length, right? That stab. It's a good job. Nick can't turn the corner because he had to deal with the chip, right? So, he has to try to go through him. But Dawand's, utilizing his length, doing a good job. Tight end help. Okay, we got another chip help here. You don't want to leave him one-on-one too much with Nick, although they did that more later in the game, which we'll get to. But again, setting vertical, just utilizing his length. I mean, this is what you love to see with a rookie. And just with any offensive lineman in any year. Like, just make life easy for your offensive line as much as you can, against an elite player especially. And this is making life easy. Set vertical, use your length. Just create some space, keep them at your fingertips, and the ball's pretty much gone. So just really good kind of scheme overall there. From an offensive line perspective, at least. This is what you saw at Ohio State consistently on these front side kickouts. Play long, which is Bill Callahan teaches this, right? This is, I think, the pendulum technique. I don't know if that's the right terminology for this. I know he uses pendulum, but so when their offensive line come out of their stance, they want hands up and out. It's called playing long. And you have the epitome of a guy to play that sort of technique in Dawand Jones. That's just such a perfect marriage from their scouting department to their coaching to getting the right guy in the system. Because watch what happens when you play long as Dawand Jones on the front side right here. Playing long. Look at what his length does here. And he's light on him too, right? Long initially. Okay, reset. Punch. And he's just creating width, right? Just creating width. Okay, got another chip. Again, I mean, he has the chip. So Bosa's not going to go around the corner. So Dawand's actually setting at a 45 here. And then he's kind of just, drifting back vertical right here. Okay, the chip misses, but all kinds of disruption on Bosa. And again, it's that quick punch right there. See that? Jolt his head back right there. Look at that. Right in the neck. Boom. Set back. Ball gone. Man. Good job of Dawand Jones maximizing his size to his advantage. And, man, this is what you're seeing this season from him. So the defensive end, I mean, he doesn't essentially even have to really worry about him right here. Man, Wyatt Teller snaps this dude's head back. Watch this. Boom. Oh, man. That's awesome. I think I put that in there for Wyatt Teller. I mean, I don't even know why I put this one in here. Just to kind of show, again, like, tight end help against the wide 9. Doesn't even really have to block him. Just has to set vertical and ball's gone. Just more of kind of, what he's being asked to do or not being asked to do. It's a good job here, setting vertical, utilizing that length. The quarterback is nice and shallow right here, right? He's not drifting. If he drifts right here, I mean, Bosa may try to go get the corner, but he's not even trying to get the corner. Dawand is doing a nice job of kind of knowing where the quarterback is and making the pass rushers run through him. And then look at his strikes, his placement right here, timing, and then just the sheer size and length, right? It's really good. Here's that mix-up right here, that jump set that he loves to do. Boom. The hand gets knocked off initially, but he's initiating first contact. Nick forklifts it, tries to work around, but because of the quarterback's positioning again, I mean, look at the quarterback. He's super shallow. What is he at right there? 6? 7? 7 yards. When the quarterback in the passing concept is basically creating a short corner, or a long corner, which means, he's shallow in the pocket. So if the deeper the quarterback goes, the shorter the corner is for an offensive tackle. So because he's at 7 yards, Dawand Jones just has to play big, right? He doesn't have to worry about speed. Man, look at this. This is probably the best rep, I think, of the game right here. This is really a one-on-one rep right here. Boom. There it is. The length, man. It's disruptive. It's really disruptive. And it's the hand size. It's the timing. He utilizes his length really well. Look how he's playing long right here.